Okay. Thank you, Lolo, for recording this. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to the last member and partners forum of 2023. Welcome to all of you that made the time this morning. I know we had a few more registrations, but I know that people's diaries at this time of the year is also quite busy. So I'm just going to jump into it straight away. Who's got the presentation up?
You're
Lolo?
welcome, Tikkie. You can take over my slides.
No, can you go to the next slide? Because I just want things to go quickly, because I'm scared if you share it, then I'll go, you know what I mean, my connection will drop. So next slide, please.
Not a problem. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, so just today on the program, just hello everybody, and we're going to ask who's in the room. We want people to say hello to each other. We've got Sylvester with us, and I'll tell you a little bit about him just now before I introduce him. We quickly want to tell you what we've done in 2023, what we're looking forward for 2024, and what are the opportunities on the calendar for our partners and for our members, and the roles that you can play in 2024. And then if we have time, we'll have a little bit of a discussion, and then Vuyo will close. So before we go to our speaker, I want to just say that today we have somebody with us that's got a string of accomplishments. And you know, beside running South Africa's largest PR agency of the year in 2021, he's also one of our 22 young global leaders that sits on the World Economic Forum Advisory Council for on the World Economic Forum. So for Global Shapers, sorry. He's a board member of the SA State Theatre and an all-round Madonna fan. Sylvester, hey?
That's right.
Yay, I know. And I'm really so blessed. We're so blessed to have him with us this morning. And ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce Sylvester Chauke to you. He's the founder and chief architect of DNA Brand Architects. And over to you, Sylvester.
Thank you very much. What a lovely introduction, Tikkie. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here with everybody today. And I know I've been given a very tight slot, so I'm going to just utilize every single bit I've been given to talk about this idea of positivity and why it's very, very, very important. So, you know, what's always been weird for me is that many people always ask me, you know, why are you always so chirpy? I mean, what do you drink in the morning? You know, and I must say, I don't blame them, because I can be that annoyingly positive guy in the room. And, you know, let me tell you why that is. When I was a little boy, you know, growing up in Soweto, 12 years old to be exact, I found myself on set of a TV commercial shoot. And that was my introduction. I didn't know it then, but it was my introduction to advertising, or the world of advertising. And I would really be fascinated by this world. And as a young boy from Soweto, you can imagine how exciting that was for me. It sparked an interest that led me to pursue my studies in advertising and communication at UJ. And then I started working a decade later with some of the most exciting and biggest advertising agencies in the country. Agencies that really taught me the power of positivity, the power of influence, and got to work with some of the most exciting brands and some of the most exciting people on the continent. And fast forward, I then went to join Nando's, and as its head of marketing and communication. And I think it was quite exciting for me too, because working with a brand like Nando's, with a leadership like Nando's, you automatically almost have this incredible positive energy that is required for you to be able to infuse in the business. After Nando's, I left. I went to join MTV Networks Africa as its director of marketing and communication. And there, I also got to travel the continent and really got to see just the diversity of people, the diversity of thinking, and this positive spirit that we have on our continent. And then 12 years ago, I started DNA Brand Architects, a marketing and brand agency that I founded with the hope to be able to continue to create a business that will make a difference in the industry that I actually am at. So you could say that I work in the world of brands, you know, the world of influence, the world of communication, which is generally a world of creativity and ideas. So using ideas to solve business problems far and wide. I love this world, and I'm very lucky because operating in this world for me is a source of joy. So yes, maybe I may have to be a little chippier than the average Joe, but it's also the way that I'm inclined to show up in the world. And that's really something that I do appreciate a lot about myself. But don't get me wrong, it's not all rainbows and unicorns in my world. You know, challenges still sprinkle into the mix. I mean, we all live in South Africa, right? I live in South Africa. So you can already understand that navigating living in this beloved country of ours, you know, can be quite something. A typical life scenario of a constant loop of managing highs and managing lows. So managing what's seen and managing what's unseen. It's a tricky place. And around this time of the year, it's a little bit more intense than usual as we also rush to kind of close the year and finish things off. And many of us, I'm sure I speak for many on this call, that we are exhausted. We are desperate for a time out to recoup and prepare for the following year. And this is a really necessary time for us to re-energize. And I really do appreciate very much that we are taking the time, like this call today, at the end of the year, to kind of reflect and to be able to, you know, to dream. It has been a lot. And I'm not sure about you, but 2023's roller coaster ride has been pretty intense. And as I reflect, I ask myself why we keep on pushing, why we keep on going forward, regardless of the challenges that we are contending with as leaders and as a nation. And I distill it to one essential truth. We push on because we are not done yet. A proverbial mark is still to be made. The vision is yet to be manifested. And as they say in these streets, there's still a lot to do. Yesterday, I had an amazing privilege. I got to share time with about 500 young entrepreneurs at Wits University as part of a youth seminar. And it was quite incredible to see these young people passionately align on their dreams and what they want to achieve for our people, for our community, for our nation, and for themselves, of course. There's a lot of good energy, you know, energy that should be channeled into our collective good. But I was reflecting driving back yesterday that this good energy, however, you know, lives in pockets. It's not necessarily everywhere. A few years ago, weeks ago rather, actually, I delved into the latest report by the Human Science Research Council, which said that the mood among South Africans has soured. So I saw the headline and I was fascinated, and I jumped into the report, and the report really showed some disturbing new trends. And the most marked are a decline in levels of life satisfaction as a whole. People are really dissatisfied. A downturn in people's views about what lies ahead in their lives. There's a sense that the future is a bit bleak. A growing sense of despondency and a declining dissatisfaction with democracy. So you can imagine reading that, I was completely taken aback. This sense of hopelessness and despondency with democracy in particular that emerges from the survey is a frightening thing. The study shows that as despondency increases, so too does a sense of hopelessness. So it's not like I was oblivious to what was around me. I mean, I know full well, and many of us in South Africa know full well, that we work in the most unequal country in the world. And in the main, the experiences that our people are having is far from ideal. We know where we are is far from where we should be 29 years after democracy. And of course, many challenges are around us, and all of us sort of experience this discomfort directly or indirectly. Globally, in the continent and in our country, I mean, the world is going bonkers. I mean, wars in Ukraine, in Palestine, the cost of living, human rights violations across the continent, across the world, and many, many, many other challenges right on our doorsteps. It's really been a year that many people found themselves tapping into their reservoir of positivity and energy even more, including myself, right? To remember the possibilities ahead and the positive change that can still happen. We've had to dig that much deeper in being positive and in managing what's happening. And it's kind of weird because this is, if I look at what personally for me, it's been an amazing year from the accolades that we are seeing, the opportunities that we are looking at, the doors that are being opened, the team growth, and all those good things. But it's almost like in the middle of all the good things, it's very hard to kind of enjoy these good things because there's quite a lot that's going on. Just a few days ago, I delivered my TED Talk in Paris last week, Thursday, and a lot of people coming from different parts of the world. And interestingly, a big theme and conversation is almost like there's a lot that is very similar with what's going on across continents and across cities. There's this despondency and this energy and concern about what needs to happen and the need for us to be that much more positive or to dig even deeper in the reservoirs of our positivity. So there is this tension, of managing the awesome things that we're seeing and the not so awesome things that are happening around us. And if you live in South Africa, that's a superpower because South African citizens, we have to manage the good and the bad all at the same time. We can have a building senselessly burn and kill 77 people in it. We can have some of the most horrific statistics around us about the lack of employment, entrepreneurship support, healthcare, crime, corruption, and there is a lot that we see on our headlines daily, and we speak about this pretty much as a regular, on the one hand. But we can also, on the other hand, be winning the Rugby World Cup and see so much unity and remind ourselves of how great we can be. This positive spirit and this energy that the World Cup win actually did for us was something that was quite amazing. But we have to not stay there too long because, just around the corner, there's a reality that we do need to see. So it is clear to me then that to manage this world we live in, we need optimism. We need to look at the future with the hope that things will and shall get better. And in a world that's constantly evolving, all of us in this call, leaders in this call, are more crucial to epitomize this optimism and working towards the change that we dream of, the bridge that connects us, actually, and the key to unlocking progress and understanding. And as leaders, we must be aware of the fundamental issues in our land, of course, but also do all we can to be able to contribute to its flourishing. Imagine for a second a world where every message that we send as leaders, every conversation we have is a stepping stone towards mutual understanding, a world where we use the power of what we do across all our different businesses to inspire positive change, to challenge what is awful about the world, to bring people together and to amplify voices that actually need to be heard. And it's not just about words, it's about, of course, actions too, about aligning our values. And many of us speak about values, but do we align with those values, with our messages and with demonstrating our commitment through that action? It's about sort of building trust, and both trust that's within our organizations, but also trust with our partners and stakeholders and our communities, at large. So as we reimagine forward, and of course, the eternal optimist in me, it's really all about embracing the potential for us to engage in more meaningful ways, to never forget the human element, the power of a genuine smile, a listening ear, and a heartfelt conversation. Because I do think that even though we have so many challenges, we are a legacy of many things that are going right, even if a lot of things have gone wrong on the way to this point. And as a collective, we need to keep our eye on the prize. to continue to understand the preciousness of the here, of the now, and the possibility that lies ahead for all of us. So I urge us all to kind of stand against bland. This is my personal mantra, really, that talk to a cry for a vibrant, dynamic approach to life. You know, it's a rebellion against the mundane, you know, the negative, an invitation to infuse every moment with flavor and color in a world that's often saturated with monotony. Stand Against Bland sort of urges us to embrace uniqueness, celebrate diversity, and add a dash of spice in this, you know, in what can be mundane and ordinary. And for me, it's a reminder that, you know, we do stand on an extraordinary opportunity, you know, to have impact and change in our lifetime, encouraging us to paint our stories with bold strokes of passion and individuality, and to unite under the spirited banner, rejecting the negative and the dull and the mundane, and of course, you know, against bland. So I can go on for long, but I think the core thing for me is that to us all on this call, it's to never tire. May we never stop caring. May we never stop thinking about the possibilities, working towards a world, a country, a community we want to be proud to live in. And I believe that by reigniting ourselves to care that much more about our fellow people, we can create work, we can create businesses and movements that leave a lasting impact in the community that we do serve. And for now, I know we are towards the end of the year, and many of us are on a countdown to no alarms, flip-flops, to bikinis, to short shorts, to laughter, friends, family, to nature and connection. And I know that as we reflect back, it really is about understanding that, yes, 2024 is around the corner, and it will require us to be even more chirpier than, you know, than before, to be able to lead to hope and action, you know, that inspires around us. So as we end this year, let's rest up, let's reflect back, and let's bring our chirpiness back in 2024. Thank you so much for having me.
Sylvester, thank you so much for that positive message, because I want to say to you, like, you, the chirpy boy from Soweto, I think I'm the chirpy girl off the farm. So, and I often get, I think it was Vuyo actually that once asked me, how come you always so positive? You know? And I think that, yes, what you said is so true. It's not always rainbows and unicorns. It definitely isn't. But I think the one thing, you know, what resonated with me this morning is what you said, is that we've got this extraordinary opportunity to make an impact and a difference in the world that we want to live in. So let's go and do it and reject the negativity, and as Sylvester called it, the bland, and let's never ever give up. That's what we have to do. And I want to say, Sylvester, thank you so much. And well done. We'd love to watch your TED talk that you did in, is it online already, that you did in Paris?
It's not online yet. Yes, it'll probably be online in the next few weeks or months. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for your inspiring message this morning. And I know you might have to run, but it will be nice if you stay around, but we understand if you have to go. So thank you, Sylvester. Okay.
Much love. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So I just want to say, I can't put on my camera this morning. I've got what Sylvester was talking about, flip-flops. I've got the sea behind me, but I can't even show you. So because my connectivity is so bad. So yeah, so I'm going to hand over to Vuyo now to start us off on looking back at the, you know, at 2023. Vuyo, over to you.
Thank you so much, Tiki, and great to see everyone, or have everyone with us today. And I mean, you know, so many I think thoughts coming from Sylvester as well, Tiki, as you mentioned. And the idea of I wrote here, rejecting the mundane. Oh my goodness, that for me is such a big statement, because we get so bogged down with the details of the everyday, and then, but it's exciting work that we're doing, right? I think, driving impact, purpose-driven work, it's, but we also have to have that positive energy, that, optimistic energy with us as well as we do so. So we're gonna take everyone now through the, some highlights of this past year as the SBAI, as Shift Impact Africa. We're gonna go into what's coming up onto in the new year. As you know, we always convene the members and partners forum as a way to just share. But I think today we started out with a great year-end message. We always want to, though, as you look at your next year, 2024, to not only know what we've been through, right, as a community, but also think about what more, right, we can work together on, as this ecosystem, as this collective, and, keeping us in mind as that partner that you can come to as you do so. So I'm going to highlight a couple of things, and then I'm going to hand back to you, Tiki. And I think for us, we, I would dare say, are known for our flagship event, which is our Africa Shared Value Leadership Summit, but we decided for 2023 to do things a little bit differently in terms of, showing commitment to our Africa-wide network, to not just do one event, in the way that the summit is done, but really, as you see on the far left hand of the screen, do our shared value series. And the idea here was really to engage with our communities across, I want to say 4 countries, five events about 4 countries, and really to look at our community in those countries, having hybrid events on the ground, but also looking at partnerships that we can do to really, kind of like continue to celebrate, right, the Pan-African nature of the work that we do as a Shared Value Africa initiative. So we had the value creation forums, we had, of course, the CEO Connect forum that we've been driving since 2020. And doing so, I think for us was really for us to not only speak to our leaders, right, in terms of our networks, but also the emerging leaders, being the youth, being the entrepreneurs. And that for us is really quite a dynamic engagement that we did that. And then we also took time to look at going back to our network, what other opportunities were there, again, across the continent, in order to thematically align, right, in various countries, and again, have these strategic engagements. And I think for us, we always want to underline the fact that it's not about an event, but it's about the outcome and the impact that will happen as a result of this. So we talk a lot about strategic engagements, going to Ethiopia, as recently as 2 weeks ago, we're in Zambia with the Africa Capacity Building Foundation. Kenya, of course, being, a substantial community of ours. We've had a few engagements in Kenya as well ourselves, as well as with our partners. And of course, even then closer to home here in South Africa, hosting engagements with Agrilux marketing around, that industry, as well as, World Food Program, etc. And for us, always looking at within our network, what are the key drivers of the narrative? What are the key drivers of activity? And then, creating opportunities for us to not just have conversations, but to collaborate. And that is when the impact comes into it, right? That is really when we can talk about scalability of this, the work that as a community across the board we are doing. So I'm going to stop there, hand back to you, Tiki, to talk us through It's Not Okay and the other partnerships that we've had.
Okay, so thank you for that, Vuyo. I think it was Deirdre who asked, can we get context of the meeting? Deirdre, just quickly, this is our year-end members meeting and partnership meeting. Obviously, people on the call have been involved with us over the last year, or the last, hopefully, 5 years. And we're just giving a little bit of feedback. So can you hear me? Vuyo, am I still there?
Yes, Tiki, we can hear you perfectly.
Okay, sorry. So just quickly, thank you for giving me the It's Not Okay part. So as the gender equality activist in our organization, a quick feedback on the Gender Equality Implementation Guide that we launched at the JSE on August the 18th. We're working really, really great progress that we're making. We are developing for IFC, the International Finance Corporation, the global, out of Washington. We are busy creating a module for them on addressing sexual harassment at work. So hopefully that will roll out. Also, lots happening in February this next year. When I think about 2024, hopefully that will roll out in 2024. And then we also working at the moment with AUDA NAPAD. Very blessed to be I'm very blessed to be one of the 3 experts. We're currently working on creating a World Skills Africa desk for our continent. And this World Skills Africa desk will focus on vocational training, which is very important for us. And then on the US ADF, we're also working with Nairobi Securities Exchange, as well as with IFC on doing GBV research in Kenya. And then on the capacity building side with the USADF, we're rolling out in February next year this WhatsApp learning platform that we've created for entrepreneurs, and it will roll out. I think you've heard us talk about it before. It's rolling out in Kenya and in Senegal. And then from a capacity building perspective, our focus is and always will be on our young entrepreneurs, our young businesses, because we are talking here this morning about a continent where 60% of the population is below the age of 25. So for us, capacity building, training cohorts on the concept of creating shared value. We had 4 African entrepreneurship forums this year. We did our investor readiness forum as well. So for us, that work will continue. There's a little bit of a shift you'll see when we talk about going forward, but the capacity building and the work with entrepreneurs will never, ever, ever, end for us, because that is definitely one of our key focus areas. Next slide, please, for you. Oh, I don't know who's driving it. Is it you?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thanks. So here we just wanted to be busy working on our activities and impact report at the moment. But I think, looking back, this year on Africa Day was our 5th birthday. So we were five years old on Africa Day in South Africa. We also this year got PBO status from a Shared Value Africa initiative. What that means is that now you can get a Section 18A certificate because the membership fee, as well as the contribution that you make to the Shared Value Africa initiative, will be seen, as a contribution. It's not and you can get the tax benefit out of that, but sadly it's only in South Africa. And also what we're doing after 5 years is that we're looking at our strategy, because we definitely want to explore other countries. As some of our members and our partners know, we opened a small office in Kenya this year with Kate, who's also here on the call. So we've realized that having a representative and being represented in a country for us is very important. So we are busy exploring other countries in 2024 and beyond. So what you're seeing on the screen here is just a little bit of the numbers, if I can call it that, of this year. And I want to say these numbers are also opportunities for partners and members to participate in. When we look at the 104 leaders that we've profiled, those were all speaking opportunities that either we or myself or our members or our partners participated in. What we also did, which is I'm very thankful about, because I know It's Not Okay this year alone. I mean, we were very, very blessed to get coverage from JCDecaux and ProVantage to the value of 8 million, which doesn't come easy. It comes through partners, that we work through as a nonprofit. And it really is amazing, with the awareness creation on that. So yeah, I think for me, this was, as Sylvester said, it was a hard year. It really was a hard year, and trying to keep the chirpiness this year was quite hard. But I wanted to ask Vuyo about her chirpiness. Vuyo?
What is that? Just to add on, also on the It's Not Okay coverage as well, Gautrain Tiki, you know, another partner of ours on that too. And I think, you know, with it's, yeah, 5 is an interesting number, right? Because it's growth. A lot of you know, work has been happening on the ground, but also I think for us it was a I guess a requirement of, I want to say, agility a little bit as an organization, where this year, although we really starting our programs, right? Not this year, but in previous years. But I think this year really made that our model, right, operating model that looks beyond just membership come to fruition, right? So in that sense, that's why you hear us talk a lot about members and partners, because what it means now to be part of our network, right? There's membership, but it's also just, you know, looking at the screen, as Tiki said, strategic alignment, where we actually have programs, as we also shared previously, that partners can come on board and be part of, right? But of course, membership guarantees that continued, I want to say, exposure and thought leadership profiling, as it were. But, you know, within this, you know, if your organization is driven by purpose, you know, if your organization is committed to sustainability, you already are part of our network, and let's find a way to actually amplify, right, our efforts as a collective by finding ways of collaboration. And I think that for us is looking at that, is creating those opportunities, which is also why, you know, we wanted to highlight that with the PPO status, for example, here in South Africa, and other work that we've been doing to further anchor ourselves across the continent in various ways. So I think that for us, you know, it is membership, it is CSI, it is program funding, you know, sponsorship. There's various ways, but it starts with just, you know, the more we have a conversation, the more we can keep going from there. That's all from my side, Tiki. Shall I move to the next one?
Thank you, Vuyo. Yeah, so looking forward at 2024, we've decided to from a strategy perspective to almost consolidate a little bit in 2024. And I think I want to share with you, because this is we've launched the African Institute for Competitiveness in March this year. And the institute comes out of Michael Porter's Institute for Strategy and Competitiveness that he started in Harvard. We're collaborating for this, you know, on our institute, not only with Michael Porter and them, but also more so with the India Institute for Competitiveness with Dr. Amit Kapoor. And as Michael is linked to Harvard, Amit is linked to Stanford. So what we're looking at this year is like looking at really focusing on different research projects, because when we look at Africa, and I did this presentation in Lusaka that we was alluding to, is that research in Africa, we only spend 0.8% of GDP on research in Africa. It's one of the lowest numbers if you look at it from a global perspective. We need the data. We need the data to make informed decisions. And that's why we've decided with Dr. Amit from India, because they've done a lot of research over the past 15 years already. And what we've done this year to start off with, we started with this Export Preparedness Index for African countries to look at how we can help the AFCFTA. And that research is going to be released in the first quarter of 2023. That's our first project. But then the rest of the research continues. And this is what I want to say to all of you. You can all get involved in, you know, in the research, and happy to have a discussion with you on that. The next thing that we're going to focus on next year is our youth and helping young businesses to trade across borders. We are not going to make a success of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area if we do not involve our young businesses to become part of it, and not to be hesitant to try and create new markets and cross borders. Jammy Trade, we're launching on the 2nd of February, 2024. I thought the number 2 for me was significant. We were going to release it this year, but then we brought in AI. So we had to bring AI into it. We calling it, you know, it's our LinkedIn for Africa, because we want our young entrepreneurs to cross borders, to speak to each other, to build this community, to learn from each other, I also would love for our members, for our partners to get involved in Jammy Trade, because this is not just a platform. It's also almost what we want to do is to create this as the entrepreneurship and young business community, where if you want to go and look for information, if you want to go and look for a company, if you want to go and look what you know, the trade regulations are in Uganda versus Kenya, this is the platform as a young business that you come to. Then we're going to continue our work on gender equality and fighting gender-based violence. You know, it is one of our focus areas with the Gender Equality Implementation Guide. We are what we find, because our Gender Equality Implementation Guide is so comprehensive, we can create modules for organizations. And this is what I alluded to previously, creating this module for IFC out of Washington, which is called Respected Work. Some of you might have heard from it, and some of you, they might have spoken to you about it, but we are actually creating the curriculum for them for that respected work out of our Gender Equality Implementation Guide. So if an organization is interested in a certain aspect of gender equality where they're struggling, we can also help with that. So that's another one of our focus areas. As Vuyo said, the summit for us, our flagship event, and I'm really, really happy to say, as most of you know as well, we're going to Kenya next year. We've done quite a lot of work on that already, and we've got some sponsors on board. We do need more sponsors, you know, and this is an opportunity for brands to really come and showcase also and talk about the fact that they are part of making an impact and a difference on the Africa continent, and sharing that with your peers in order for everybody to learn from that. So Kenya, we're quite busy with. We are hoping to also, as an association, have the AFCFTA there, have the African Universities Network we're busy talking to as well. So we're trying to, I think for us, what we've realized through the years as the Shared Value Africa Initiative, and I've seen that in Lusaka as well, is that we always have the institutions like the AU, the AFCFTA, UNCTAD, all of these organizations, you know, at these events, but we never see the private sector there. So now we consciously want to do that at the summit next year. We want to have the private sector there, and then we want to bring in some of these organizations so that we can speak to each other, because we all have the same focus. We want to create the Africa we want, but we all work in silos. So I want to invite every single person on this call today to Kenya next year, 24th to 25th of October. And please join us. And again, if any one of you want to sponsor, we would be happy to connect with you. And then the Shared Value Africa Initiative work continues relentlessly. I mean, we'll show you just now very quickly. We've done we've done our calendar for next year on the different countries we're going to engage, you know, from a shared value perspective, because remember, Africa's got 55 countries and we're only in 12 so far. So we've got a lot to do. We also continues relentlessly with training our young entrepreneurs from a shared value, you know, to trying to lay the foundation from an organizational perspective to have that shared value mindset and that value creation mindset when we train our different, you know, our different cohorts. So yeah, that's the areas that we're going to look at next year: research, the youth, gender equality, and then obviously the summit, which is a big one for us. Thank you, Vuyo. Just a quick one, and I'm not gonna, there's a little bit, we're sharing this presentation with you afterwards, just to show you all the different activities. Some of them are continental, some of them are country specific. You'll see, from a leadership perspective, we're going back to Kenya and to South Africa. We might do a leadership, hasn't been confirmed yet. We might do a CEO Connect in Uganda as well. But that those things we add to it. This is at this stage what it looks like at the moment. MWC Kigali is happening again, and then there's also the ESG Africa conference that's also happening. Then from an entrepreneurship perspective and our academy, we continue to have the African Entrepreneurship Forum next year. We'll continue to have the cohort training, and this is opportunities for members and partners to get involved. If you want to come in and share with these young leaders your experiences, your knowledge, these are the opportunities that we have for all of you. But we don't know, you need to, we're going to reach out to you. We always reach out to you, but really, if you at any stage when you have a look at our calendar, want to get involved in any of this, please reach out to us. Then from a research perspective, we'll be releasing the export preparedness, as I said, in the first quarter. We're busy at the moment also speaking to IFC on doing the same research, obviously adapted for Kenya, on the impact of gender-based violence to the Kenyan economy. That we're working with IFC in Kenya. And then also we want to look at the state of shared value. We need to do an update of that from our previous research that we did. If you go and visit our website, you'll also see all of our different research that we've done in the last 5 years, dare I say. So there's been quite a lot. Next slide, will be okay to move forward. So then, as some of you have experienced, because of our network and being the Shared Value Africa initiative, we get contacted all the time by different entities, different organizations that want us to participate. Some of you saw it. We were at the ESG Africa conference this year. We did a session. We're going to go with Human Capital International. They in Uganda in June this year focus on entrepreneurs. There's the Lagos Business School one. So we add to this as we get invitations from different organizations. And then what we need is we need you. We need you to be part of it. We need you to be our voice out there, to help us to talk this impact and value creation for all that we do as organizations. So you'll see this when you have a look at it, once you receive it, there's different countries that we're going to, and in this case, what we've also learned is every single event will be a hybrid event, because there are very few in-person ones, but some of the roundtable ones probably might just be in person, on its own. We really want to try and tackle the DRC, because we know that one of our partners, the World Food Programme, wants to become more active in the DRC as well. But that is what we're looking at for next year at this stage from a partner conference. Because as I say, that list always grows every year. Then on the It's Not Okay front, we've got our African Universities Gender Equality Forum. We just had a great one yesterday, which was co-sponsored by UCT, by the University of Cape Town, and really listening to how young people think about gender equality and gender-based violence, because that's the young people of the future are the ones that's going to have to come and help to make that change, specifically if you look at it from an academic perspective. And here again, I want to call out to universities that want to, if any of our partners or our members know of universities that want to co-host with us, please let us know. We're hoping with KPMG again, they worked with us on the 18th of August with our CEO Connect, is to work with them together on a gender equality event, hopefully just before or during International Women's Month. And then obviously 16 days of activism that starts on Saturday. And I want to say to everybody on this call, please can we make 16 days of activism, actually 365 days, and not only the 16 days that we see every single year, because there are still too many women and children suffering because of gender-based violence. And then Jammy Trade, as I said, we're launching that here. We've got March, but we're launching it on the 2nd of February. The first MVP one with AI in it. And then we will continue with Jammy. Jammy Trade then becomes the focus, because we're going to have monthly youth events, from different countries with different entrepreneurs. We continue then with the MVP2 development, where we bring private sector on board. But Jammy Trade then becomes a huge focus in 2024. Is that my last slide, Will?
I think it is, Tiki. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if anybody's got a question before I hand over to Will, because I think for me, it's just for us to share with you what we're doing in what we've done in 2023. You'll get our activity and impact report, but going forward, and again, doing a shout out to say, first of all, thank you to Gautrain, to ProVantage, and to JC&Co, for the support that we get from them. And we want to say to all of you is that we need your voices, please. We do need your voices out there to help us, but we also need you to become we also need your funding as well. So please, if you want to look at CSI, if you want to look at any of our programs or our projects, just reach out and we'll come and have a chat. And yeah, I think as we've got about 7 minutes left, I have to hand over to Vuyo, and I can say to all of you comfortably here, I have stopped crying now because my Vuyo has decided not to take up the CEO job at the Shared Value Africa Initiative next year, and we're very, very, very sad to see Vuyo go, because I love Vuyo because of her energy, because of that special smile that she has, and just the warmth that she brings to a room, and the way she makes you feel. I know that Vuyo always used to be the one that used to calm me down, and Vuyo, I don't know who's going to do that now. So, but I want to say it's not for lack of trying to ask Vuyo to stay, but sometimes you have to let people go and maybe they come back. So I want to hand over to Vuyo now to just say her last goodbyes. And Vuyo, over to you, my girl.
Yeah, I'll always be a phone call away, don't worry. I'm not gonna say a lot of words. I for me, I wrote reams and reams of pages, and I thought actually, I think for me, it's just to, first of all, acknowledge, right? I think the chance that Tiki took when we had a random meeting about 5 years ago almost, at Glenda's, not knowing where this journey was going to take us. And what I really have enjoyed in, now my 4 years as part of the Shared Value Africa Initiative, as part of Shift Impact Africa, is how the work and the purpose of this organization, aligns with my own personal purpose. And I think that really has been amazing, Tiki. It really has been great to be part of a collective of people, of organizations that are not just paying lip service to when we're talking about transforming Africa, but actually working to do so, right? The long days, the many engagements, but also really working to do so that we know that, looking back, we can talk about this is the work that was done. This is the work that was led in Africa by Africans, right? Going back to that, rejecting the mundane, Sylvester, going back to the energy that comes with that, because it is actually born out of a sincere belief, right, in the potential that this continent has. So, I always, and I've been saying this many times over that, it's SVI is now part of me, and it always will be. And I wanted to also just acknowledge all of our partners in terms of the engagements, the meetings, the first conversations that we always have, not knowing where it's going to lead to. And it actually leads to a community that has been built, that was existing before I got here, that has grown in my time here, and I know we'll continue to grow even after that. And I think a very important part of this is the core team. I want to thank Philly, I want to thank Kate, Mariette, Zandri, for the work that we do, requires a lot of agility and energy. And I think just to, hats off to everyone for always doing that, but also our broader network of, associates and people that we've worked with, Mumbi, Susan, Joy, there's various people that we call on for specific reasons, and people who come on board and support this. I think Joy just said now, this small but mighty team that we have. And there is an endless list of organizations, Tiki, that I know, are part of this network directly or not. And this is the work that's going to continue to grow across Africa. And my very almost last words are going to be to you, Tiki. Just to applaud your, I want to say, clarity of vision, right? And tenacity, your honesty, boundless energy, as we've been saying. And, but overall, like, just this commitment, right? And I think, being able to, bring together the magical, formula that's required to make the various programs work over time has really led to what I think is a legacy that's been built, right, in these last 5 years. It's not just a legacy for yourself, but it's a legacy that is everyone who joins is now part of, and I think that's something that with the ecosystems is always going to grow. So what it is when you've got a calling, and that is always going to be, what drives the work that I do. That's always going to be part of me, right? No matter what happens in future, I feel like once you become part of the SBI, you never leave the SBI. And I'm always going to continue to, fly the flag high, right? And I always say I'm a WhatsApp away. So I'm saying this to Tiki and everyone. I'm also LinkedIn profile away, but I think, our work is bigger than ourselves. And I have no doubt that, this is just one chapter ending. What the next one's going to look like for us, we'll see what the future brings. But just, thank you. Thank you, Tiki. Thank you to the team. And, thank you to everyone for just always being, just being part of this transformation of the continent. And for myself, I'm grateful to have been part of this. Back to you, Tiki.
Thank you, Will, for that. Thank you for that message. And I'm going to have to go back to what Sylvester said about, I think for you, losing you for me was such a big loss, but I still love you dearly, okay? And I wish you only the very best on your next endeavor. But I want to say to all of us here on this call, as the Shared Value Africa Initiative, as the Shift Impact Africa, we need to keep on pushing forward. As Sylvester said, we are not done yet. The vision is yet to be manifested. So, and we need to be more conscious. We need to be, optimistic about what's lying ahead. And we'll see you back. Hey, okay. Thank you everybody for making the time. It's 11 o'clock. We're going to sign out, and please, stay in contact. Remember, a conversation is much better than an email. I just want to tell all of you, because conversations is what makes things start. An email just is waiting for you to respond. So thank you so much. And I want to wish you all a really great festive season. And I hope that you get some rest. Thank you. And thank you, Sylvester, again. Bye, everybody.
Very much,
Thank you
everybody.
very much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.